Lloyd, welcome back to my channel, and today I will be doing a May/summer to be read list. Now, the majority of these books will be books that I have to read, more like I want to read for Quiz Bowl. And if you didn't know, Quiz Bowl is this book reading literary competition in the state that I live in, where a bunch of different schools have teams and they compete answering various questions about books, and the books just so happen to be Peach Award books chosen by like a panel of judges and stuff. So out of those 20 books that they are given for us to read, I've already read 4 of them, and my goal this year is to read 20. So my senior year I want to read all of the books so I stay in the long. My freshman year I only read like 6 books. My sophomore year I read 8, and this year I read 13. And my senior year I'm going to try and hit all 20. So the first book I'll be trying to read out of my Helen Ruffin Bowl book list will be American Road Trip by Patrick Flores-Scott. So I don't know really anything about these books, and I'm going to be mainly judging them by the title or who the author is. And so from the title, the gist I'm getting is like a YA coming of age road trip. And okay, I lied. I did read just a little smidge of the synopsis, so I know it's going to be following a family and it's going to be like heart-wrenching and stuff. And this usually isn't what I like to read. Like, you know, I'm more the fantasy type vibe, but I still feel like it's going to be good. In the past, most of the books I didn't think I was going to like, I actually did. Like What to Say Next, whose author is escaping me, and I'll probably put it down below. And I read that last year. That was a romance novel that I actually enjoyed. And so hopefully that one's not as bad as it seems. The second book I will be trying to read this May/summer period is Aurora Rising by Amie Kaufman and Kristoff. Now, at first glance, I was like, yo, I know those authors. If you don't know, Amie Kaufman and Kristoff wrote the Illuminae series, which was a Quiz Bowl book my freshman year, and I fell in love with it. Now, I only read Illuminae and Gemini. I didn't read Obsidian. I just couldn't get into that style of, like, if you've seen the book, I couldn't really get into that style of wording again. But it was still a really great science fiction / fantasy novel that took place in space. And from the gist of the title, I'm getting the same sci-fi fantasy feeling from them. And individually, I don't think they're strong authors, but when they write together, they are really great. So I'm really looking forward to reading that. Next up is Barely Missing Everything by Mendez. And I'm getting more of like an LGBTQ vibe from this title. I'm also getting like therapy, and I know it's so bad to judge a book by its cover / its title, but that's what I'm getting. I'm not getting a lot of like strong adventure from this, so I'm not particularly intrigued to read it, but I'm gonna read it anyway. Next is The Bone Houses by Emily Lloyd-Jones. This was giving me Dread Nation vibes. Dread Nation is this historical fiction, 100% recommend. It's a historical fiction following this African American girl in a post zombie apocalyptic riddled South. It takes place during the Civil War. So good, 100% recommend. That's the vibes I'm getting from this. I'm getting House of Scorpion. I'm getting this is gonna be deep vibes, and I'm here for it. The only thing I'm scared of is that it's gonna be like a series or a trilogy, and I'm not in the mood to get stuck into like another series. Like that happened to me in Children of Blood and Bone and Dread Nation, in fact, because there's a second book to that one. So I'm kind of hoping this one's a standalone. Next up is Have a Little Faith in Me by Sonia Hartl. Once again, another book I'm not really getting anything from, but I'm still gonna read. Then Here to Stay by Sara Farizan. I apologize for my butchering of author names. Most of the ones I'm saying, I'm gonna say most of the books I'm going to go through I'll be saying like really quickly, because I didn't really get any strong vibes from them, or like the title didn't really tell me anything about the book. If I do pause and tell you anything, I'm really excited for it. So the last one I just mentioned was Here to Stay by Sara Farizan. Next is House of Salt and Sorrows by Erin A. Craig. Once again, I'm looking forward to it. It was giving me the same vibes that The Bone House was giving me. You know, House of Scorpion, Dread Nation, that's fantasy meet historical fiction type vibe that I am here for. It is my favorite genre. What I'm scared of is that I'm going to get like this strong heroine character who's not actually strong. Authors nowadays are doing a better job of fixing that, but I don't know if this is a book that was written in recent times, so I'm kind of scared, but I feel like the story and the world itself is going to be immaculate. Next is I Wish You All the Best by Mason Deaver. The Kingdom by Jess Rothenberg. On the Come Up by Angie Thoms. On the Come Up. Now, I knew about this book when she came out with The Hate You Give. Now, if you don't know, Angie Thoms is the author of The Hate You Give. I hope you read the book, but if you haven't read the book, a movie was released on it. It had Amanda Steinberg playing Star, which I found pretty problematic. I'm really excited for this book, not because of the genre, not because of who the author was, but solely because I liked The Hate You Give. And I hate to say it, but The Hate You Give is what's making me like this book. I do know a little bit about this one. It's following this up-and-coming rapper, this up-and-coming female rapper, and it's looking if she gets stick in the game with guys, of course. So hopefully Angie Thoms' writing style stays apart and that she's just not writing on, this The Hate You Give popularity vibe. Next is Opposite of Always by Justin A. Reynolds. Then Pride by Ibi Zoboi. Now, I may be wrong, and I may be confusing this with another book, but Pride is supposed to be like this rewritten version of Pride and Prejudice, like similar to how like Pride and Prejudice Zombies was, except this one's like a modern era, and I think it takes place in like Chicago or some other urban city, but it's giving me that. I don't think it's going to be like a slow burn like Pride and Prejudice was, nor do I think it's going to be like such a heavy romance, and I really hope it's not such a heavy romance that Pride and Prejudice was. But based on the cover of the book, I'm going to put it here. Again, it's giving me like brown, darkish vibes, but I know it takes place in modern times. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think that's going to be like one of the first ones I actually pick up. Next is Rayne and Delilah's Midnite Manatee by Jeff Zentner. Hopefully. Then Serious Moonlight by Jenn Bennett. Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. Sorry for Your Loss by Jessie and Foley. Stepsister by Jennifer Donnelly. Stepsister is giving me some Judy Blume vibes. Like, I feel like it's going to be a coming of age for girls. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just, from like first glance of this list, it was giving me heavy fantasy vibes. And then, you get those 6 to 7 books that don't fit into that category, and Stepsister just so happens to be one of them. And finally, With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. Now, this year, the 2019-2020 Quiz Bowl year, they had, I love this book, The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo, and I loved it so much. I didn't think I would like it. First off, it's written in verse, so it's not in a traditional writing style. It's written in, like, poetry. But the characters are so rich. It was so beautiful. Now, I mentioned this one because I am going to read it, but that doesn't mean I haven't read it already. I have read this book. Literally, when I figured out it was on the list, I picked it up and I read it. I breezed through it. It was so good. It was amazing. Elizabeth Acevedo has a penchant of writing people of color so well, and I know it's because she's a person of color. Like, it's the representation that I wanted, it's the representation that we needed, and I'm here for it. So I will definitely be rereading that. Now that's the conclusion of the May to Summer to be read books that are for Quiz Bowl. The rest are books that I already have. So, The Raven Boys by Maggie Steffwater. This has been recommended to me so many times by so many people, and similar to Six of Crows, I didn't want to pick it up because everyone else read it. But, you know, I didn't really have anything else to read. And since May to freaking July is a long period of time, I was like, I need more than 16 books. So I'm going to give The Raven Boys a try. This is the first book, I believe. Yes, this is book 1. And I don't think I'm going to look at anything afterwards, but I'm going to give it a shot. Next up is Every Day by David Leviathan. Now, Every Day is a movie now. And I actually kind of know the synopsis of this. So essentially, it's like, I think it's an alien creature or whatever. But every day they're a new person. Their soul like goes to a new person, and they end up falling in love with the same person every single day. Yes, that's this book. So I'm here for it. I'm excited. I'm not a romance heavy person, but I'm excited for this, specifically for this author. Next, we've got some nonfiction. Now, these two aren't necessarily books. Well, this one is. This is a book. This is Modern Politics by C.L.R. James. This is recommended to me by the author Modibo Kodali, whose book I previously read. And I don't know what it is about like radical stuff and politics that's intriguing to me, but I'm giving this a shot. This was referenced multiple times in his book, so I'm giving it a shot. And the next one, the last one, actually, which isn't a book at all. This is a pamphlet. It is Every Cook Can Govern, by whose author is escaping me. Well, this is Every Cook Can Govern. Also nonfiction, also kind of radical. I'm giving it a look. I'm looking at new things. This is going to be a real short read. I'm probably going to read it a few times. So that's it. That's my 2BR list for the May to summer period. Thank you for watching. That's it. Thanks for watching. This is my 2BR reading list for May to the summer period, so that will be ending in July. I will put a list of the books, their authors, and where you can find them down below. And thanks. Bye.